televiewers, especially kids and parents, welcome to AGHAMAZIng TV. I am Sir Jesse Guzman and I will be your teacher in Science 5. Are you ready to explore the enchanting world of science? Now, let's go!
Hello kids! Sir Jesse here. For today's lesson, we will discuss the mode of reproduction in flowering plants. The lesson is intended for you to describe the plant reproductive system responsible for the process, specifically sexual reproduction of plants. Flowers is an accessory organs of the plants used in sexual reproduction. Flowers can be classified as complete and incomplete. A flower is said to be completed when it has both male and female reproductive parts. On the other hand, some flowers are incompleted. Flowers are parts that indicate a plant is reproducing or producing seeds. When seeds are produced, it means the plant performs sexual reproduction. The different parts of the plants are involved to do such process. Pentacle, also called pedicle, is the stalk of the flower that is very important to hold the fruit. Receptacles is the thickened stem part attached to the pentacle, and it is where the flower or group of flowers grow. Flowers are what make flowering plants. Flowers provides mechanics for sperm to find the eggs, thus leading to fertilization and development of seeds. In sexual reproduction, we have requiring two parents, the egg and the sperm, combining different genetic materials. We have mitosis and meiosis. In the nuclear region of the cell, we have two major cores, the mitosis and the meiosis, where all the cells' chromosomes are found. Nuclear controls mechanisms begin cell division at the appropriate time. Some cells rarely divide by mitosis in an adult organism, while other cells divide constantly, replacing old cells with the new. We have here the complete flowers, the receptacles, the petals, and the sepals. Receptacles that we discussed a while ago, largely upper end of the flower stalk that bears fruit. Sepals, modified leaves which enclose and protect the other parts of the flowers. We have the group of sepals called calyx. The petals, the brightly colored parts that attracts insects during pollination. The group of petals is called corolla. What is pollination? Pollen is produced in the male organ of the flowers. The anthers, pollination occurs. When pollen is transferred from the anthers to the female organs by wind or by animals, if the female stigma is receptive to a pollen grain, the pollen reproduces a pollen tube, which grows through the female tissue to the egg, where fertilization takes place by the sperm nucleus. Let us learn about the male and female reproductive parts. We have the male and the female. Let us focus first on the male reproductive part. The stamen is the male reproductive part of the flower. It consists the anthers and the filamen. The anther produces pollen grains. Each mature pollen grains contain a tube cell consisting of tube, nucleus, and the two male gametes. We have also filament that holds the anthers in the position tall enough to release the pollen. Number 2, we have the anther, consists of two lobes that contains pollen sacs. It has pollen grains that are released by the anther when it matures. Number 3, pollen grains contain the male gametes. For female reproductive part, we have the carpel or the pistil. Is the female reproductive part of the flower. We have also the top part of the carpel is called stigma. Stigma is swollen structure at the end of the style. Stigma is supported by the style. The style is a stalk that connects stigma to the ovary, tall enough to trap the pollen grains. We have also the base part of the carpel or the pistil is the ovary. The ovary contains two or more ovules. Within the ovule is the female gametes or egg cell called ovum. Ovary contains one or more ovules. Each ovule has female gametes. Flower that contains both male and female reproductive parts are called bisexual flowers. These are the examples of bisexual flowers. For the male reproductive parts, this is another example for the female reproductive parts. The flower that contains either male or female reproductive parts are called unisexual parts or flowers. We have the flower containing male reproductive parts, example, papaya flowers. Flower containing female reproductive parts. For the watermelon, flower containing male reproductive parts and also flower containing female reproductive parts. For fertilization to take place, pollen grains need to be transferred from the stamen, the stigma. The pollen is carried by insects or blown by the wind from one flower to another. This process is called pollination. We have here the self-pollination. If the transfer of pollen grains take place in the same flower, it is called self-pollination. It happens when the wind blows. If the transfer of pollen takes place from one flower to another by using insects, it is called cross-pollination. This transfer of pollen grains is done by wind, water, insects, or animals. Pollen reaches the new flower and travels to the ovary, where it fertilizes egg cells, ovules, to make seeds. This is called fertilization. After the pollen grain lands on the stigma, the tube cell produces a pollen tube through the style into the ovule. After the pollen grain lands on the stigma, the tube cell produces a pollen tube through the style into the ovule. After the pollen grain lands on the stigma, the tube cell produces a pollen tube to the style in the ovule. The male gametes travel along with the tube nucleus to the pollen tube. After they reach the ovule, one of the male gametes fuses with the male gamete, leading to fertilization. Fertilization leads to the formation of zygote, or the new cell. The other male gamete fuses with the polar nuclei to eventually form endosperm. The zygote divides multiple times to form an embryo within the ovule. The endosperm provides nourishment to the embryo. Eventually, the ovule develops and turns into a seed. The seeds are scattered by animals or wind. This is called dispersal. Some of the seeds will go or grow into new plants. Let us have an activity. Direction. Read the sentences carefully. Choose the letter of the best answer. Number 1. What is the male reproductive part of the flower? A. Sepal. B. Pistil. C. Petal. Or D. Stamen. Number 2. What is the female reproductive part of the flower? A. Stamen. B. Petal. C. Sepal. Or D. Pistil or carpet. Number 3. Which of the following is not found in the pistil? A. Filament. B. Ovary. C. Style. Or D. Stigma. Number 4. Which part holds and touches the pollen grains? A. Anther. B. Ovary. C. Stigma. D. Style. Number 5. What part of the flower connects the stigma and the ovary? A. Filament. B. Pistil. C. Stamen. Or D. Style. Okay, let us check. The correct answer for number 1 is D. Stamen. Very good. Number 2, we have D. Pistil or carpet. Number 3, A. Filament. Number 4, C. Stigma. And number 5, we have D. Style.
How many of you were able to get an amazing score? That ends my discussion. I hope that you will learn something today. Again, this is Sir Jesse Guzman saying, be an explorer, be a discoverer, be an AGHAMAZING you. This is AGHAMAZING TV.